the whole day. Wicked bass line. Do, 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 do. Nice. But Maltiti, Charlie, we they warn you. We, the Manchester United fans, are not very happy with Liverpool giving us advice. How many times they win the EPL in the last 20 years? Mal, you want. From me and Val, all right? Good to have you here. How many days away from Valentine's Day? Today's the 9th, so 5 days more. But yesterday, somebody was celebrating his birthday, and he's here with us. His name is Oscar Provençal. Happy birthday, belated. And how did you spend your day, Oscar?
Oh, relatively quiet.
Okay.
I had lunch with the kids and with my mom, and yeah, it was just a quiet day.
Nice one.
Day goes by.
Then Pampa you small.
You see.
Ibisu. Ibisu. Happy birthday, man, from all of us here. We love you, man.
Thank you, and thank you for the shouts out yesterday.
Ibisu.
Thank you.
Ibisu. KKD is managing director of the Finest Productions, and he's a commentator on media, culture, and brands. How has your last week been so far, man?
Always beautiful. Always great.
What time did you go to bed today?
About 2 a.m.
Oh. Are you a night owl? Or there was...
Not exactly. I mean, we had some orders, and the tailors hadn't finished some of the work. So, you know, at the end of the day, the buck stops with you. And,
exactly.
If you don't want them to go to sleep, then you stay up.
One time.
And by God's grace, they finished them. So I'm happy.
You're happy. Good. When the money is coming in, we're happy. We can do things with it. Yes. Work. It's not just you just get out there and you become big. You have to work. And these gentlemen have been working and are still working and making an impact. Good to have you here. I always look forward to Wednesdays. Let me run through the headlines and we dive straight into business. Fantastic. So, Daily Graphic, $6 million Apiati explosion fine. Maxam pays $1 million and $5 million balance payable within 18 months. It's almost like a payment plan, you know. Yeah. Wreaths and obituary for bust CEO invoke fear. Ghana National Fire Service targets 5-minute emergency response time, and former President Mahama is urging that a forum be convened to address economic challenges. That's your Daily Graphic. Ghanaian Times, attempt to serve Asin North MP with injunction motion unsuccessful, and the CEO of the YEA is urging OT youth to take advantage of employment opportunities within his organization. The Finder, Maxam reluctantly agrees to pay $6 million fine, and government asked to conduct cost-benefit analysis of LGBTQI plus bill. And the Observer, Asin North MP ordered his bodyguard to throw me out. Bailiff tells Supreme Court as CJ launches investigations. But I want to start with something that was really huge yesterday, and it had to do with toll booths and a proposal to transform them into toilets, you know, from T to T. And these were facilities that were bringing in, at the last count, 78 million per year. All of a sudden, we woke up one day and no more tolls. And then we hear the roads minister talking about plans to have them transformed into decent washrooms. We want to show you him saying this, and then I'll get some comments from my guests in the studio. You stay tuned.
We want to refurbish all those toll booth structures to provide proper and decent washrooms, for instance, for the use by motorists, so that we advise them to desist from the practice that we see at times. You find out or you see cars stopping indiscriminately.
This particular issue, and him say what he had to say. He was responding to some comments in Parliament. The thing went all the way to Parliament, and he was not very happy with some comments that were being made by the MP for Adaklu. So let's see the Roads and Highways Minister, Samuel Kwata, speaking on this particular toll booth toilet issue.
To improve the sanitary situation at this toll booths, we won't even allow drivers to stop in case passengers want to use that facility, among other things. So it wasn't a statement that I made, it wasn't a report, it was an interview, but that person was fake, and you do not have access, and you are not privy to the entire
let's return to the
interview.
report.
And as a member of parliament, why did
honorable
you
ranking member,
this ignorance?
the use of the
Happy that this issue was being addressed in Parliament. He said he was being taken out of context, but the video, we heard him say that these were the suggestions to have these toll booths transformed into decent washrooms. Kwesi, I'd like you to have a bite at this story. First bite.
Did he actually say that?
Yes.
I didn't see him say that.
Well, he did say it.
So if he did say it, and we have the video, I mean, let's see him say it. But if he said that,
he said it.
The best I can say for him is it's another slip of the tongue, because this doesn't sound like something that has been thought out. And like I've said before on this program, and I think the very first time I ever used that word on radio or television in my 37 years of culture was right here on this network, when the same gentleman, had said something, and I call that a brain fart. You see, you can be a brilliant thinker, but once in a while something comes out of your mouth which you don't intend to happen. So let's consider it a brain fart, because this cannot be something that is thought out, not by him, not by his driver, not by his maidservant, not by the guy who washes his car. It's unfortunate. And it's not unfortunate just for somebody who's been elevated to a position of authority. It's unfortunate for any citizen of this motherland of ours to say you're going to have public toilets in the middle of the highways. In the middle of the highways. Now, how are people going to access those toilets? Are they going to use helicopters and land on top of the toilets and then drop in like, Die Hard? I really don't get it. Let's just say it to be a brain fart. He didn't mean to say it, and it slipped out somehow. But maybe we should be thankful that it slipped out. Because if it didn't slip out and it was something that they were actually considering, without first letting other people in government know about it, then we might have spent some of the monies that we collect from taxes to actually go and build toilets in the middle of the highways. Then Ghana will be the first in the world to have public toilets, cubicles, in the middle of the highway. So as cars are speeding, people are stopping to say, Mpacho, make a toilet, holding their toilet roll, crossing the highway to go. I just don't get it. Please forgive the man. It was a brain fart.
Oscar.
Is there any point in commenting on this?
I want to know your views.
Really?
That's why we have you here.
Oh, goodness gracious me. Well, okay, let me be magnanimous. Let me take this of you. Maybe the minister has information we don't have. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. We know that the motorway is going to be re-engineered. Maybe the new design of the motorway will have a flyover, which will allow you now to come and, the cars will go on top. I'm just using my small common sense.
Don't turn this into a movie.
I'm using small common sense. Maybe the design of the new motorway will allow the cars to fly over, and then you have an opportunity. I'm not an engineer, I don't know design, but that's the only thing I can fathom that he may know that we don't know.
He has sought to clarify.
In the new design.
He clarified? Let me explain.
In the interview,
I'll give you the clarification.
In the footage we just saw from Parliament, he sought to say that he and that he has been taken out of context. That's what he said. He didn't deny that he said it.
No.
But just he's been taken out of context. I am only trying to find the most plausible explanation I can find in my little mind's eye as how a statement can come. And you see, it comes to the issue of public speaking. We take it for granted that as politicians and as public servants, you can just, as Kwesi said, brain fart, you can just open your mouth and say anything that you want to say. You really have to be careful these days because Ghanaians are wiser, more educated, more knowledgeable, and they'll take you on. And so there is no logic if you look at the motorway today, and that's why I'm talking about the design. If you look at how the motorway is designed today with the toll booths, and it will stay like that. For the cars to be whizzing by while you open the door and ask that, oh, toilet roll has finished. Yeah, mommy, you just said, go and give me. You ridicule yourself.
Maybe they'll put them on the side.
Well, it's absurd, to say the least.
Plumbing, water.
Well, even those things can be done underground, whatever it is.
We shouldn't justify this.
But it should never have come out. I think he probably should have apologized rather than saying that, you know,
no, he
was taken
sought
out
to clarify
of context.
his comments on the use of abandoned toll booths in the country as places of convenience. He says the plan is among many others being considered by the government. He says the suggestion, which has been met with widespread criticism, has also been misconstrued by us, the media, and a section of the public. So he spoke on the floor of Parliament. You saw that clip, to a question raised by the Adaklu MP.
So if he had said that providing toilets on motorways is being considered and did not link it to the toll booth, then he's home dry.
So it's the toll booth that has caused the whole confusion.
The toll booth has caused the whole problem.
And to think that the toll booths were generating funds.
I hear the toilets make more money than the toll booths.
Oh,
it's possible though.
Oh, okay. So
I'm not acting. It's possible. Maybe it's a better business model.
Okay, with the satire. Let's get on.
So let's trash the toll booth strategy.
I think what this brings to light is the fact that, and I continue to harp on this. What this brings to light is the fact that when you are elevated into a position of authority, be reminded that you are not the smartest in the country. You happen to have been favored by somebody who likes you, who thinks you're competent, or who thinks you're very good at, bowing to them, because people don't always get elevated for being competent. But once you get to that position of authority, you must do all you can to listen to others who know a little more than you before you spew whatever you want to spew.
You see,
because
my problem with us is that we're professionals in that field. So, you have people who have not got any background in communication. Yes? They're not even, I hope they should, but they should.
You get training.
Yes, you get training.
Beauty pageant, I've trained beauty pageant contestants.
They should go through
who want to speak back. I've trained people who want to go and do a TED Talk. So if you know you are deficient somewhere, you get training.
But the problem is not about his speech. The problem is with his thought. Now that's a difficult one.
Yeah, but
but the problem is, the thought is where we are talking about. We're not talking about how he said it. You see, when it's speech, then it's how you said it. Tone, content.
Yes, but Oscar was also making a suggestion that you and I both Oscar was saying that he could have apologized. If he had apologized,
exactly.
Maybe he didn't need to apologize in the first place. You and I, when we listened to the voice notes, the first thing you said was, "Where's the video?"
Yeah.
I didn't see him say it.
Yeah.
So, anybody wants to challenge this voice note can say it's doctored, it's not him,
so we need to see
it. So later maybe we'll get the footage and we'll see him say it. But even that, you can even lip sync and change it. So you can go into that. But bottom line, he didn't deny he said it. And it's totally absurd as far as I'm concerned.
Forgive. I mean, Ghana, I plead with Ghana, please forgive him. It was a brain fart. But everybody in a position of authority who is going to be speaking publicly, especially when you're very well aware you're being recorded. And these days, people do surreptitious recordings as well. Please make sense. Because whether you like it or not, it is the taxpayer who is funding your lifestyle.
Okay, let's see him in action, making the comments. Road Minister, Mr. Amakwata, MP.
Toll booth structures to provide proper and decent washrooms, for instance, for the use by motorists, so that we advise them to desist from the practice that we see at times. You find out or you see cars stopping, indiscriminately on the highway, and people get to wee as we usually say it, urinating. You see men on the left, women on the right, or at times you see a man, a woman. It's all indecent.
So
it's not a good practice.
Well, are you Lot's wife now? Turn into a pillar of salt. Kikiri, wake up. Sorry?
Oh, look.
Kikiri shocked.
Maybe the toll booth is not at the motorway.
No, we are hearing what he said.
Maybe there's a toll booth somewhere.
No!
I don't know which of them.
No,
Charlie, let's move on. Let's move on.
No, there must be a mental health assessment.
No, come on.
No, I'm serious.
That's too far.
This is impossible.
No, it's a suggestion.
Is that proposal?
It has been met with the criticism from the general public, and so I don't think it's going to be happening. But hey, let's see.
To see it.
My point is that these structures should have been raised down the moment we know that we're not going to be taking tolls again, just because they are even a risk. You're driving so fast, when you get to those toll booths, you have to slow down. And we've had we've had histories of people
2 months prior to
in the
this,
toll booth being hit
yeah.
by cars.
Yeah. One slammed into at the Thamerside.
Thamerside, yeah.
Killed one of the...
And I said this weeks ago, that they should just raise these things and then just keep it a free-flowing situation on the motorway. On all the other roads,
but at least he's got us at heart.
No, after...
I mean, when you're talking about providing, toilets and stuff like that.
Stop the satire.
Oh,
this is serious.
This
is really serious.
When your system
no, please, seriously.
And okra,
this is what.
You have to run to
let me tell you what.
You don't want toilet.
If he was my uncle, if he was a member of my family, I'll be having him assessed.
Oh, come on.
No, because this is the second public brain fart.
No.
No, you see, so after how many, it's like when somebody's about to get a stroke. I mean, if you're a trained medical practitioner, there are certain signs that you see, right? And then when you see those signs, if you're a trained medical practitioner, you act on it, right? Now, if people start making such statements, which are so ludicrous, why don't we think we should just have them assessed for their own safety?
Sometimes
this is a problem.
Sometimes we need comic relief.
Like 6 months down the line, that KKD kind. Have the good man assessed.
Ghanaians have met the suggestion with their response.
Don't go for a road contract after this show.
No, I don't go for no road contract. But my point is, I want the man to be well. He's a good man. He's not an evil man. He's done some good work for this nation. I've seen him stop people who are messing up roads in Ghana, and I pray that he succeeds in whatever work he's doing. Public brain farts like this, family who care about him should be having him assessed.
You can't judge a person's competency over 2 brain farts. Come on.
7:37.
Let's give him.
This is GTV Breakfast. That was a big story trending from yesterday, even up until today. And I'd love to find out what you think about that suggestion. 055-556-1034. And from toll booths to a fine of $6 million that has been slapped on Maxam. And Maxam reluctantly agrees to pay $6 million fine. This is, of course, in connection with the Apiati explosion that happened a couple of weeks ago. The finder says they have reluctantly agreed to pay. The Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Mr. Ajinapo, has imposed this fine on Maxam Ghana, the company at the center of the Apiati explosion. The fine is without prejudice to any criminal culpability, and that may arise from investigations. They say they didn't breach any issues. This explosion occurred 20th January 2022, and so what is the breakdown of this fine? So first of there's some information that I want to share with you right now, and so So on February 1st, 2022, the 3-member committee submitted its report Upon a review of the two reports, the ministry has established regulatory breaches on the part of Maxam Ghana Limited, hereinafter referred to as Maxam, in respect of the manufacture, storage, and transportation of explosives for mining and other civil works. And so these breaches attract fines ranging from 600 cedis to 10,000 United States dollars. And I think Thelma may want to take it up from there with that is on the screen right now. You're watching GTV Breakfast. Thelma, take it away, please.
Okay, so this is what Maxam said in relation to the $6 million fine that's been imposed on them. And the rest of the statement reads, nonetheless, having regard to the nature and totality of the circumstances leading to this tragic incident, I, as the Minister responsible for lands and natural resources and therefore the overseer of activities in the sector, have imposed an administrative fine of the cedi equivalent of $1 million United States dollars at the prevailing commercial rate on Maxam. In addition to the fine, it's been agreed after extensive discussions with Maxam that the company will pay to the government the equivalent of $5 million United States dollars, also at the prevailing commercial rate. For the avoidance of doubt, the total amount payable by Maxam to the government stands at $6 million United States dollars, or its cedi equivalent at the prevailing commercial rate. Maxam shall pay the fine of $1 million US dollars, or $1 million US dollars, or its cedi equivalent at the prevailing commercial rate before the restoration of its permit to manufacture, store, supply, and/or transport explosives, and giving the demonstrable cash inflows of Maxam and their current circumstances, the remaining $5 million United States dollars shall be paid in 18 equal monthly installments, beginning from 1st March 2022 to 1st August 2023. Back to you, Kaf.
Okay, so that's the story with this $6 million fine that Maxam is going to pay. If you go to the website, Apiatsi Support Fund, you'll get details of the explosion as far as casualties are concerned, the people who were injured, people who were killed, and we'll just pull up those figures for you in a short while. The meat of the matter is that Maxam is being slapped with a fine, $1 million immediately, $5 million over 18 months. This is the breakdown. So you've got government. So the agreed fine is $5 million, and then you have the government imposed fine $1 million, and there's a payment schedule. So $1 million before they can even get their permit restored to them, and then the other $5 million, which is spread out over 18 months at about $277,000 a month over 18 months to be paid starting from March. So this is what they've been fined. Quick thoughts on that.
I don't understand why somebody says, I am not culpable, but I'll pay the fine. You know, I'll use myself as an example here. A man accused me of rape. I said, no, I haven't raped anybody. The lady says, no, I haven't raped. What? If I haven't raped somebody and a man accuses me of rape and the lady says I've not been raped and somebody says I'm fining you, then I go and pay the fine? So if you are not culpable, why are you willing to pay a fine? And from my understanding of this case, there's an investigation still going on. So,
and they say this fine is without prejudice to whatever results will come out of the investigation.
So if it is found that they are not culpable, then we'll refund the money to them. And if it is found that they are culpable, then we're going to fine them some more. I think we need some lawyers to speak on this. I mean, this is beyond my pay grade. There are certain things that I can comment on and certain things that I would rather leave to somebody who is, you know, a specialist in that particular field of endeavor.
Oscar?
Well, yes, clearly it's above our pay grade. Whether the value of $6 million is a fair and equitable figure for the fine, without prejudice. Once again, you know, it raises issues. But on the flip side, it's good that some action has been taken. And it says what? Government maximum agreed fine. So the two parties sat together and agreed. Now, after blowing up my town, culpable or not culpable, I sit down with you to agree how much I should fine you. I should just fine you. and you have to pay. But I need to do the right valuation. Now, outside this country, I'm sure you're going to probably hear there's going to be a class action against, the company for the damages. How much do we value human life in this country? How much is the compensation going to be for those who've lost their lives? And you see, this triggers into a much deeper conversation. The structures, it's not a big deal. Brick and mortar. But human life, you can't bring it back. You simply can't. And to quantify what Ghanaians are given as compensation when they lose their lives in this kind of manner or in these kind of incidents and accidents that we've seen over the years, the conversation has to be had as to what does a Ghanaian life, what is the value of a Ghanaian life?
There may be about 7 different steps.
And we got to go into that. And you hear a lot of people say, well, yes, we're supposed to be given this by the state, and 2 years, 5 years down the line, nothing has happened. And these conversations will go on. But I was hopeful to hear say they will take up the cost of rebuilding that town. Criminal liability or not. So 6 million, I think is, well, I'm not the one to judge. Like he said, maybe get the lawyers and get, those who, maybe there's insurance cover. Should there not be an insurance factor in this? What is the insurance factor in all of this? So there are a lot of questions that will come up that we can bring to light. But beyond that, I think that we should begin to start valuing Ghanaian life more, putting the right value. So
15 people died,
Yeah,
and the whole town has been raised
down.
Yeah.
And it's important that whilst we wait to hear from the lawyers and the actuaries on this matter, because I think this is their area, this is where they come to shine, we should count the number of people who have lost their lives, whether they were breadwinners for households, and then we should look at the public property that has been damaged, as well as the private property that has been damaged. And I believe those are the things that the minister may have looked at to come up with this initial fine. But the whole thing...
We say minister as if it's an individual who decided. I'm sure they have a team that...
Yeah, but when a minister speaks, he speaks for the government. It's that simple. So we can say minister.
Right.
And if the minister disagrees with the government, he must speak up. And that is why sometimes people resign. So I like personal responsibility. It's something my father taught us as children.
18
he says,
months.
every one of you be responsible for what you do. So if your boss says go and slap somebody and it's wrong, tell your boss, I won't do it. So I'm saying the minister.
Yes, a year and a half.
I'm just praying that if Maxam is not culpable, it comes out that they are not. And if they are, then they are fine.
It's almost like they took a loan and then they're paying back over time, because it's a 1 million down and then 5 million over 18 months.
I don't get it.
Let me give you some numbers. So 15 people died. Wow. I'm reading this from the Apiatsi Support Fund.com website. 15 died. 59 sustained various degrees of injuries. 954 people have been displaced. And generally, the area has been devastated. Domestic and commercial infrastructure, houses, shops, businesses, farmlands have been razed down. And so there are going to be direct and indirect consequences of that explosion. So, of course, there's going to be unemployment, there's poverty, there's vulnerability, there's food insecurity, because it's a farming area, destruction of schools and health facilities, and community. And $6 million, I think it's peanuts.
Is this $6 million or 6 million Ghana cedis?
Dollars. And the cedi equivalent.
On my way here, I was listening to BBC. I can't remember the exact organization, but they were going to compensate, I think, 200 women who had been molested or, abused, $250 million.
Okay, so I have
They hadn't been killed.
They have a good lawyer.
So
Quarter of a
No, they have a
billion
good lawyer.
dollars.
They have a good lawyer. So these appear to community must get a good lawyer.
okay,
Simple as that.
get a good lawyer.
Get a good lawyer.
And on the line now, we do have an expert to talk about the issue as pertaining to Apieti. So, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Okay, so spoken before. It's good to have you on. And this is Kafui. We're looking at the news. Maxam fined $6 million for breaches as the minister institutes 14 stringent measures, as reported in the Finder. What's, first of all, your initial response to this $6 million fine that has been slapped on Maxam?
Good morning again, Kafui. If you look at the release from Maxam and from the minister, the fine is actually $1 million. The $5 million is as a result of conversation, negotiation between Maxam and the government. Now, where I am worried about is if it is a voluntary contribution from Maxam, why do we have timelines for payment? That is one aspect. Number two, where from the authority to fine Maxam $1 million? We're talking about administrative fine. Then maybe we might look at the Constitution. That talks about what administrative bodies can do or persons with administrative power. We say it must be done fairly and candidly, and it must not be one with arbitrary and capriciously. So when from the authority of the minister to award to fine them $1 million, then if you look at the posture of the deputy minister yesterday, say if they are not satisfied, they should go to court. I would have wished Maxam would have gone to court. But I think they are all equally thinking about their business and they don't want to go to court. Suffice it to say that if they don't want to go to court, a precedent is being set. Remember, there was a collapse of construction platform in Newmont some years ago. They were fined. Well, from that authority. And if our law is insufficient, that is where we are at the moment. Let us correct the law. I don't think the framers of the law envisage something like this happening. Maybe that is why we don't have the situation where the fine will be adequate.
Mr. Jimega, what rights do the residents of the community have, those who have been affected grievously by this explosion?
Kafui, the last time we spoke, you mentioned if they get a good lawyer. And you know, in this part of the world, in Ghana, lawyers are not to advertise. So I'm a bit cautious advising them without their input. But the right they have is that they should sue their companies. And they should sue the government as well. Because the $5 million will not be enough, in my view, to cater for everything that needs to be done. So the right they have is the people who owe them responsibilities to make sure that they are not hurt or to make sure that no harm comes to them. They should sue them. Sue Maxam, sue the AFAS, sue the Justice Logistics, and of course sue the government. And let them have their days in court, and the rights of the citizens should be vindicated in court.
Are there any of a disaster around Africa, around the world, where an explosion occurred and then the people took those responsible to court and won?
Yes, there was the Texas incident. They won, but they got overturned somewhere along the line. But there were other compensations that people got along the way. You see, across the world, in explosions such as this, efforts are made to minimize loss of life. So it's just loss of property. But unfortunately, we were not prepared for this. However, if there was no precedent about such an explosion, there's precedent about negligence on the part of somebody for which the law must come in and help you to come back to your status before the explosion.
I'm looking at a story in today's Finder, and the minister has 14 conditions to be met by the company before its operating permit is restored. So some of the measures include a ban on the transportation of ammonium nitrate and fuel oil amphil on a public road to a mine or civil work unless expressly permitted by the Chief Inspector of Mines. Explosives must be guarded by 2 escort vehicles, one in front and one at the back, both having sirens to warn about the explosives. Company to notify the Chief Inspector of Mines of their intention to transport explosives 48 hours before the scheduled transportation, and mine inspectors are to inspect every transportation to ensure that all regulations and protocols are complied with. These are just some of the 14 conditions. What are your thoughts on these particular conditions?
The last time we spoke, I mentioned some of these conditions to be met. However, the law is already detailed. Some of these are already contained in the LI 2177. For example, the companies are supposed to have the explosive transportation plan, and that contains like what has been mentioned in the 14 point. Best practices all over the world also requires that the explosive truck should be sandwiched between 2 escort vehicles. So these things are already there. Now, if the minister has issued these directives, it should tell you that there was a problem with the enforcement. And who is responsible for administration and the enforcement of the regulation is the inspectors of mines. The question we should be asking now is that, are they well resourced in terms of skills and capability and logistics to be able to enforce the regulation? That is where we should be looking at. Then, if you look at all that is being done, we are talking about the explosives company side of things. We are not talking about the people side of things, the communities. We have not said anything about education. We have not said anything about sensitization. These are the things we need to look at.
Mr. Jimagan, how about the subcontractor, Logistics, who was contracted by Maxam to convey the ammonium nitrate? Are they liable?
Yes, that is where we have a problem. Now, Maxam's statement mentioned Athens. The minister mentioned Joside. So where are they? Who are we talking about now? What I would expect is that any company that is licensed to transport explosives actually has the responsibility under the law. So there's a liability attached to Joside and Athens, whichever of them is responsible for the transportation.
I see fines ranging between 600 cedis and $10,000, which are in the current law. I mean, these numbers are ridiculous.
Yes, perhaps the law never envisages such a thing happening. The 600 cedis is with regard to conviction in court. The $10,000 is regard to a breach such as explosive plan, a transportation plan, manufacturing plan, etc. They were not about the thing that happened at Apiache. That is why the community members need to go to court and get justice for themselves.
The $6 million fine, some of the view that is just too small.
Yes, it's really small, but even then, it is illegal. Where do they have the power to do that?
So what should have been the right way if you claim that it's illegal? What should have been the right procedure?
I would have thought that they should go by what is in the law, and Maxam themselves, as they indicated, that they want to redeem their image, the welfare of Ghanaians, their employees, and their customers, etc. Then Maxam should step up the plate to say, so and so, despite the fact that the law says we should just give X amount. That would have been better than the precedent. You see, it looks like if you are not ready to pay their amount, we will not do this, which is not correct. We are practicing democracy, and we are under the rule of law.
So is it in your estimation that their arms are being twisted?
Exactly.
What would be your final comment on this issue of the fine?
I would advise that we should take a look at our laws again. Mm-hmm. The committee that has been set up to review the health and safety, that's a very good committee. I know Professor Mankwa, he was my lecturer, very good. He has experience both academia and the industry. And I think that by the time they finish their work, something good will come up that will plug all these holes.
I thank you very much. Theophilus Jimega Jr. is a lawyer and a mining engineer. So he's wearing two hats and looking at this one issue of $6 million fine, which has been broken up, $1 million immediately and then $5 million over 18 months. He says is illegal. Those are his words. and it should have gone through the right process. And the minister does not have the power to do a thing like that.
Precedents. You talked about precedents.
Yes.
And I was just going through my files, and I remember in 2011, there was an oil spillage, the Bonga oil spillage in Nigeria. And when that happened, I think a chairman spoke and he says the people of Nigeria and the environment are to be protected. And this is what happened. They were fined, and the fine was Shell Nigeria Exploration and Production Company, SNEPCO, have been urged to pay an $11.5 billion fine. $11.5 billion fine as compensation for the 2011 Bonga oil spill incident. The order came from the Nigerian Maritime Administration, the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, not a minister, and the National Oil Spill Response and Emergency Agency, NOSREA. And then it goes on to say, this is not the first time SNEPCO has been issued a fine or indeed had a serious oil spill. Speaking at the House of Representatives Committee on Environment hearing, Mr. Patrick Agbokpo Kolokemi said the Maritime Agency calculated a total of $6.5 billion as compensation, that's dollars, $6.5 billion as compensation to be paid to the communities directly affected by the spill. In addition, the Director General of NOSREA, Peter Idabo, said it will also be fining Shell another $5 billion for the oil spill cleanup. So really, it is not the minister.
No.
You know, that's why when we talk of government, we talk of the executive, we talk of the judiciary, we talk of the legislature, and then we talk of the press.
Yes.
But then we have ministries, departments, and agencies. So if government has not thought adequately to have proper ministries, department, and agencies standing, then in essence government is doing the work of damages, not managers. So whenever actual damage happens, then government must go into the role of managers, because when damage happens, everybody must see what was wrong and then set up a proper ministry, a proper department, or a proper agency. But when you think of the number of ministries we have in Ghana at the moment and the departments and agencies beneath them, for a minister to be the one to speak on a fine, that's a bit worrying, because when a minister speaks, he speaks for the president. So you're pulling the president into something which could easily have been handled by one of the departments or agencies.
Thank you very much for that, and it's instructive to know how people are. I mean, we're not comparing Apiati to Bonga, but yes, there are principles
now,
that have to be
followed. If the Nigerian loses his life, they take money.
Take money.
Is that simple?
All right.
Ghana,
no, it shouldn't happen like that. It's wrong. It should not happen like that. Let's take your messages now. 055-556-1034. Looked at two issues. First of which was the near transformation of toll booths into somebody said drive-by urinals. That was how it was described on one of my school platforms. So that one, what do you think about that suggestion? And then, of course, Apiati, $6 million fine, 1 million down, 5 million over 18 months. And what do you think? Mr. Jimega says it's illegal. What's your view? Thelma is here. She's very legal.
Yep.
That's what's happening.
Okay, so we appreciate all of you who are sending us messages about some issues you're having with our sound on the DSTV platform. So channel 278 appears to be having some issues with sound. Our engineers are working around the clock to fix it, to make sure that you get crystal clear sound, in addition to the crystal clear quality of video that you're seeing on your screens. Alternatively, you can watch the stream on Facebook or on YouTube, or you can watch the free-to-air GTV on DTT. So any other, if you scan off your DSTV decoder, you will find that there is another GTV that's on the DTT, the digital terrestrial transfer platform, and then you can get some sound on there. Our engineers are working on the DSTV one so that you can get some sound to you as soon as possible. In the meantime, messages are coming in from those who can hear us, and they are discussing what we are discussing on the table. This one from is asking, the maximum fine, please, how much will be going to the people who lost their lives and property in the community, and how much will be going to the government? Good morning to you all. Does anyone on the table have answers to some of these questions? No. We'll try and find some answers when we can. Trisha has joined us again. Good morning. And she's saying good morning to KKD and Mr. Provençal. It wasn't a brain fart. I think he is going through the male version of menopause. I think he has suggested that he has, it makes communication uncomfortable for him, but hearing him speak about the Tobu brouhaha is unfortunate. He needs help, as KKD mentioned. Shaking my head. Those are the thoughts of Trisha. And so the complaints about sound, we are getting them, we are working on them. Leviticus is asking a question. Perhaps you can put it to the minds, people. Why not transport these explosives solely by air? Is that even safe? I don't think that will be anywhere. These are highly sensitive equipment, and they cannot, I guess, they cannot be transported by air. So we're working on the sound challenges, and we'll get back to you. Because he's back. He's saying Mrs. KKD and Province are looking wonderful. Is it not a national security threat for allowing Maxam to manufacture such deadly explosives in the country? I'm guessing that we need these things to work, and there are some standards that we must maintain. But I'll leave that to you, CAF, and the panel to delve a bit more. It's sad to hear my minister deliver such a disgraceful statement. That's according to Bright DC. He needs to apologize to the good people of Ghana. Bright from Dansoman is saying good morning to us on the team. KKD has spoken well. His submission to what the minister said is right on point. It might be a slip of tongue, and the minister must check what he says. What you think is who you are. You didn't tell us your name or where you were reaching us from, but your point is well made, and we appreciate it. Thumbs up. I guess it sums up everything that I've read so far very, very nicely. Should we take one from Mina Hunter Franco Barbara, still yet to arrive? Good morning, Honorable CAF, Nana KKD, and your lordship. Was every day Mina Hunter comes back with me. I've sincerely missed today's show due to no show of sound, but I trust that most people had the benefit of hearing your voice, and with that I believe Ghana will work again. Mina Hunter Franco. Mina, you can get GTV on the DTT platform, so just scan your telly, remove perhaps the DSTV connection, scan your telly, and then the telly will hopefully pick up the regular television signal that we all have. So I'll hand it over back to you, KKD, and Oscar, who's the birthday boy at the table this morning, although belated.
Please. like address me as your lordship.
Your lordship.
Can I borrow somebody's wig?
As long as it's blonde.
I'll find one for you.
As long as it's blonde.
I'll find one for you.
Just a quick one. It is not only in high places that people slip. In every place, everybody can slip. So really, if they say they cannot hear us, then we shouldn't say it. We should write it on the screen, because that way they can read it.
We've sent a message to them on the platform.
And you know, it's in fact on the screen, on this one, on this main screen as well. So wherever you are, if you are watching and you have a friend who calls to say, now they're watching, then he says, only are two TV. So let's do that as well. You know, direct that is up to you.
Thank you very much.
It's a teamwork.
Yeah, the suggestion about transporting the explosives by air.
The lordship, the professor.
Oh, okay. Oh, the Lord.
I don't like professors.
Listen, let's talk about media, because this one is right up your alley. So a presenter has been jailed. A presenter, and
did he kill somebody?
No, he's been jailed over claims against the president and threatening judges. Okay, so I want to read the story for you this morning. So his name is so he works at Power FM, and what happened was that he made some claims. His name is Oheneba Boama Benny, jailed over his claims against the president and the judges. He's been handed a 14-day jail term. It was handed yesterday after the Attorney General charged him with contempt, also fined 3,000 cedis by the court presided over by Justice Elfrida Denchi. She said Mr. Benny, 36-year-old, was guilty of the charge against him. I have been magnanimous, said the judge, when lead counsel for the broadcaster Victor Kojoga Adawudu prayed the court to temper justice with mercy. So these are the facts. So on December 14th, CID of the Ghana Police arrested Accra-based Power FM presenter for threatening and insulting President Nana Akufo-Addo. So Ohinema Boama is said to have recorded a live video on his Facebook page in which he was heard insulting and issuing threats to the president. He claimed that the president, after the 2020 polls, met with some judges, including the Chief Justice, and he claimed this was an attempt by the president to influence the judges should the opposition candidate John Mahama decide to petition the courts over the election results. Presenter was arrested after he honored an invitation by the CID with the issue. He was cautioned on the offense of offensive conduct conducive to breaches of the peace and publication of false news contrary to sections of the law. And they said that the Attorney General's argument was that he must be punished to serve as a deterrent to others from making unproven claims. And he's going to serve his sentence at Nsawam prisons. So I want your thoughts on this, because you comment a lot on the media issues
and
at the highest level.
You see, the thing about what you say is you need to take personal responsibility for what you say. You can't just think you will be somebody's lapdog forever. People will use you and eventually abuse you. If he said whatever he said, I have no problem with it, so long as he has his evidence. Because once he was taken to court, whatever he said that he had no doubt about, he should have presented his evidence. Then once it is proven factual and truthful, he would walk free. But if he had no evidence and said what he said, and then in court he didn't say I am not guilty, but waited for his lawyer to come and say come and tamper justice with mercy, then I think he has been stupid. And whoever he was serving has let him down. No politician can pay me any money to come and insult somebody. Nobody. I wasn't raised that way. Before my education, there was an upbringing. I don't respect anybody more than I respect myself. And the highest respect I give to anyone is my parents. They brought me into this world. But when you think that because somebody pays you some coins, you can say whatever you like about Nana Akufo-Addo or John Mahama or Rawlings or Kufuor, eventually, when you are asked to prove it, you will remember that basic tenet of journalism that we are taught in first year of all journalism schools all over the world. When in doubt, leave it out. When in doubt, leave it out. Because if you don't leave it out, I have no doubt that you will be moving from one P to another P. If you are in a palace, you'll end up in a prison.
Simple and sweet. Oscar, from one P to
yeah, I suppose these borders on issues of freedom of speech and
responsibility,
defamation, as he said. You have to take responsibility for whatever you say.
Yep.
And unfortunately, in this country, we have a media landscape that is prolific with this kind of talk.
Yep.
With no regard for human beings. Look, to defame somebody who has worked hard all his life without you providing evidence, I mean, your reputation is, there's so much value on reputation, but in this day and age, nobody cares.
And some people think they are immune when they go and do their stuff on social media.
Well, I'm happy that the dynamics are changing.
It's a big mistake. They took the live video and tendered it in as evidence. Even tweets, even deleted tweets can be because somebody will screenshot a tweet and you're in trouble.
No, we have to move away from
Let me just make this point really quickly. When you delete stuff you've posted, you think they go into a black hole? Whatever you've posted, whatever you've shared,
is there.
It's somewhere.
It's there.
Go on, David.
It's there.
Yeah. So I mean, look, we've really lost our values. You hear young people, in the political fray, show so much disrespect against in terms of our traditional values to the elderly. It goes as deep as that. We've lost it completely.
Abu
Umo. At all. And it's true that respect is earned, but where we've got to, what are we imparting to the young ones and to the next generation? Can you imagine what this country is going to be like to continue?
Good question.
Just get up, insult anybody anytime,
and walk free.
Because of look of you,
Yeah.
No.
In addition,
if the law has to kick in, let it kick in.
But in addition,
and nobody should cry foul.
In addition to the personal responsibility, I think whoever is the head of programs has let his member of staff down. Because you see, the head of programs must be the one who is kind of sanctioning you for doing wrong, encouraging you for doing right. And the ownership of the station have also let both the head of programs
and the presenter
going in. Well, because now you just touched on ownership.
You know
where the main problem is.
There are a lot of times when some owners, I mean, my brother Osei Kwame Despite does not call into the station to tell them what program to do.
Yes, but
he leaves that to his head of programs and his general manager, managing director, Father Dixon. You know, and over here, I don't think the director general calls the director in the studio for you to do what you do. But whoever is heading television now, when he sees you're going offline, we'll have a conversation with you.
Definitely.
So we got to ask the question, do people even do postmortems any longer? Because when I worked in radio and television, there were postmortems. You know, after a week of programming, you would sit in a production meeting and we would discuss every program. We would discuss the highlights and then we'll discuss the pitfalls. And then you'll be warned that you can't do this any longer. Indeed. If you do it, you get a letter, or you get queried or whatever. But if you're not doing that, then everybody's doing what they want.
Which should not be the case. It's not a law.
I still go back to the ownership issue.
All right,
and we know that factor.
Yeah.
There are many stations have political
linings
in there. And it's not rocket science.
It's not rocket science.
We know it.
We know it.
I don't need to.
You don't need to. All right. From Oscar and Chrissy to a very bubbly and ebullient Valerie, who is keeping her eye on one or two somewhere. I smell something interesting. It's not just her perfume, but something interesting. Valerie, take it away.
Thank you, Kath. Good morning. Welcome to this side of the breakfast table. And so, like Kath rightly said, I can smell fish. We're actually going to an area in the heart of Accra. We're going to Teshi. Our guy, Alan, is on standby. We are looking at fish farming as an alternative to, I mean, if you don't have a job, this is where you need to keep an eye with Alan, because, hey, you might be getting some few tips on how to be a fish farmer. Alan, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Valerie. Good morning, Ghana. Welcome to #GTV Breakfast. This morning, your breakfast is being served from the heart of the city. To be specific, unemployment has become a phenomenon, and to the point where we even have associations identifying with unemployment. One wonders why we are looking so much forward to white-collar jobs in order to say we are employed. We're in a family home where alternative to livelihood shifted from looking for white-collar jobs and creating one for themselves. This is Abdul Ghaffar Farms, a home and a family business. This employs about 5 people, but the output feeds nearly the entire Teshi and its environs. We're going to go around and speak to Ghaffar, the man in charge of the farm, and find out what, why, and what informed the choice of fish farming. Let me spin my camera around, and then we go straight to speak to the man by his farm. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you very much for welcoming us to your home and also to your business.
I'm really grateful to have you here.
Thank you very much. First of all, we want to find out what informed the idea of a fish farm and why did you choose catfish?
First and foremost, I have an uncle who is in the fish farming business. I didn't know about that. I went to him once and I instantly became interested. I mean, the satisfaction from seeing them feed and all that. So I informed my uncle about it. I wanted to have a kind of business that he's doing, and we all started. Now, the reason why we chose we had some interaction with people who are in the business, and we were informed.
Let's walk around your ponds and see what's up. So this is pond number one. How many do you have in this pond?
750.
750.
Yes.
Wow. And this is pond number 2.
Yeah.
Whoa. They want to jump after me. Anyway, so you're telling us how many do you have in this one too?
This will be about 700.
But you have a job.
Yes, I have a job.
So why would you choose fish farming again?
Yeah, first and foremost, we wanted to use some kind of leisure hours that we have in doing something beneficial. Initially, I was doing tomatoes, I was doing pepper. It was when I decided to go into fish farming that I stopped all the pepper, okra, and tomato business. Wow. And for us, it's fun. I mean, you are home, you work the whole day or a whole week, you are stressed up, and you come around and see these catfish feeding, and the joy you derive from seeing them. Look at what you are doing. We believe that it aids in taking away stress.
Yeah, so not only are you making money out from this,
yes,
it also helps with your psychological well-being. So it takes away your stress.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it takes away our stress.
Do you do all this by yourself? Do you do all of this by yourself?
Yes.
How many people do you employ in this farm?
About 5.
About 5.
Yes.
And
5, all of them being family members.
Oh wow.
Yes.
And customers mainly?
We've been supplying to Corbridge. We have other people who come to buy from Pram, Dawinya, and Asham.
That far?
Yes.
Pram?
Yes.
Wow.
Okay. One other thing that we've been doing is that I have been informed. I have not verified that, but it looks like some people use some chemicals in getting these fishes to eat and to grow faster.
Wow.
We don't add any chemicals.
So this is purely organic.
Exactly, purely organic. And I think that is why people from afar want to come and buy.
So how long does it take to get this fish growing this big?
From, let's say, about 6 months.
So you have 6 months.
Yes.
Let's look at feeding them. How expensive is it to feed this fish?
I would say that when we started, it wasn't that expensive.
Okay.
But prices, especially maize, has gone up.
Okay.
And that's of their feed.
Right.
And so I think every 2 weeks we have to buy feed.
Let's look at that young man who's graduated from, say, SHS or university, who's waiting for a job and nothing has come their way. How much does it cost to have this cage to start rearing the fish?
I think this cage is 2,200.
2,200 cedis to get this cage.
To get this cage.
And getting the fingerlings.
We bought the fingerlings at 1 cedi 50 pesos per fingerling.
Per fingerling.
And 2 months old fingerling.
Okay.
So if we look at 100 will be, I think, 150. 100 fingerlings will be 150.
Right.
So if we're talking of 200 will be 300 cedis. And 400 will be 600.
Okay.
So let's say 1,000 can get around 700 fingers.
You can get 700. This has about
700.
So upsize, downsize, you're looking at say 3,000 cedis, and you can start 4,000, and you can start the whole business.
Yes.
And within 6 months, you're ready to go and you start repaying.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Gafar, for having us in your farm. Well, as you have heard, Mr. Gafar, it doesn't take so much, yet there is so much to gain from this line of business. Fish farming, you can do even in your backyard, because Mr. Gafar's farm is right behind his house, and so he doesn't even have to go away from home if he has nothing doing outside. Takes away his stress. He relaxes watching his fish, and he still earns his money. Remember, people come all the way from Pram to Teshi to get catfish. This has been Keep an Eye, coming to you live from Teshi, from the Abdul Gafar Farms. My name
Alan, don't go go off air yet. Alan.
Yes, Val.
I mean, can you ask the gentleman, most of the fish that people farm in these parts of, in Ghana, we usually just see catfish and tilapia.
Yes.
Do they farm any other fish? Right. And why do they farm just these two? Why do they grow these two fishes?
Okay, so Mr. Kafar, normally when we talk about fish farming, you hear about tilapia and catfish. Apart from these two species, are we able to farm other fishes, and why is it always just tilapia and catfish?
I believe from a small research that I did on the net, some countries are doing very well. I think I read about the Emirates. They are into shrimp farming, and they have a large land where they've constructed their ponds. They have experts, not ordinary people like us. They have experts in the fields of fishing who look at how the fishes are growing, their diseases, etc. And that has been a major source of revenue for the country. I believe that if we should have the experts coming to the ground, training people. Now, this is an eye-opener. Training people, we can deal with other kinds of fish, not only tilapia and catfish.
Sure, I'm going to let you go, but before I let you go, finally,
yes,
would you open your doors for young men and women who wants to train, and so they come on your farm as interns and learn the trade and go away?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, even giving them something small. Yes.
You're happy to even set them up?
Yeah. You see, the point is that when your neighbor doesn't have, the compelling urge to eat can translate into. So when you have, others should have. If everybody has, that in itself brings you some security.
Sure.
Sure. If you can feed yourself, if you have food, if you can have money, blah, 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 why will you steal?
Yes,
physically.
Sure.
So if young ones are willing to learn, we are ready.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, Val, so our young men out there who are saying they don't have a job, there's a job, there's training out here in Teshi for you, and there's also the opportunity to be set up and go away, having learned the trade, go and start yourself up wherever you are nationwide. And hey, you would not lose. Thank you very much once again, Val. Take it away in the studio.
Thank you, Alan. Do not come back to BH without catfish, Alan. Do not come back to BH without catfish. We are live on YouTube as the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. We are live on Facebook as the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. And if you look for the hashtag GTV Breakfast, you find us on Twitter and Instagram. Also, our next energy drink is proud to be associated with the Breakfast Show. Shield acrylic paint and also Awake purified water. And then later on for the yellow couch segment, quick credit, and they say lending is made easy. We're going to scoot off that technology to an area around Atomic Roundabout. Our guy Jay is on standby and he's keeping an eye on something that he'll be telling us in a little while. We have conversations around the ambulance service today. What are the experiences you've had with the Ghana Ambulance Service? Did you pay for their services? You might want to send us voice notes and videos, and that's to our WhatsApp number, which is 055 5561034. And we have Jay now. Jay, good morning. What's up? Where are you reporting from? And good morning.
Thank you so much, Valerie. So from Teshi, where Alan came in with the catfish and all that, I'm feeling a little jealous right now and very, very hungry. Thank you so much for that. I'm at the Atomic Roundabout here to report on a situation that's not helping drivers who usually use this commute. Behind me, you're heading towards Burkina, and I'll just take you through the place before I show you the road. And in that direction, you're heading towards Dome, you're going towards Achimota, and I want you to take notice of the road, how it is paved and very smooth. And when you go towards the left side, you're heading towards Atomic Junction itself, and from there you can go towards Legon, you can go towards Hacho and all that. And then now turning to the Kwabenya side is where the problem is. For a while now, a very long while now, I understand for almost a year, this has been the nature of their road. It's not it's been deteriorating for a while now, and I understand it causes a lot of road accidents, because for most drivers who are not used to this place, especially on the weekends, on Saturdays when they are passing this side, they try to avoid the place which is destroyed, and they rush into the other side, the other lane, and that causes a lot of havoc. So you realize that during peak rush hour, for a lot of drivers who use this side, they have to slow down, and what happens is, because they slow down when they get here, it causes that blowback where you see the traffic going all the way to the back. So for those who are coming from Kwabena, this is the situation they have to face. We are appealing to the Assembly and the Roads and Highways Authority that they can fix this as soon as possible. And you realize that that's not the only thing which is affecting drivers on this side. There are also some open drains here in the area, and they're also filled with filth, and some of the pavement blocks are even inside these gutters. There's even one right here where the iron rods are poking out into the street. So is not careful, it can just burst their tire, and if you see a vehicle passing just closely, it's quite dangerous, really. And that's the situation here at the Atomic Roundabout. So for the commuters here, they are appealing to the Roads and Highways Authority, appealing to the local assembly that they can fix this as soon as possible. It's creating a hell of a situation for them, and they pray work can be done so once it's completed, it will be smooth sailing for them. It's been too long that it's been here, and it has to be worked on as soon as possible. So from the Atomic Roundabout here in Kwabena, on the road leading to Kwabena, this is the situation at hand.
Thank you. And so that was Jay who came to us with that very disturbing report from the Atomic Roundabout area. We are live on Facebook as the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, live on YouTube as the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. So we have a little surprise up a little while, but I'm going to hand over to CAF, KKD, and Oscar.
Thank you very much, Valerie, for that. Just curious, are you catfish gentlemen? You like catfish, fish with whiskers?
I like catfish.
Yeah. It's not bad if it's done well. It's
okay.
not bad.
No, he doesn't eat catfish.
I have a friend who has
like that advertising an insurance company.
I have a friend who has a catfish bar.
Catfish bar?
Yeah.
Wow.
And
it goes down with beer?
Initially last stop somewhere.
Oh, okay, nice. I have to look for it. You're not making me hungry. Catfish bar. Gentlemen,
it's the only time I enjoyed catfish.
We'll be having a conversation on emergency services with
response time.
Yes, with the National Ambulance Service in a couple of minutes. But I'm just curious, as we wrap up, to look at the Ghana National Fire Service, who say they are targeting a 5-minute emergency response time. You call them, they are there within 5 minutes. The Chief Fire Officer, Kunuo Alep Kuri, says we want to ensure that within 4 to 5 minutes we will be at the point of incidents. Quick thoughts on that before we
he should stop saying 4 to 5 minutes to start with.
Yes.
He must be specific.
Yes.
If he wants to say for 4 minutes 30 seconds, he should say that. Because when you say it, you want to do it.
Okay.
So for now, if he's saying 4 to 5, I take it he means 5 minutes.
Okay.
But my brother just asked a question: from where? So they've got to have hydrants all over the place, and then they've got to have their trucks stationed not only at a place where they have to face traffic before they get to their destination. So they've got to have trucks stationed in different locations throughout Accra. If not, the 4 to 5 minutes is going to remain a dream.
Oscar, praying for that day.
Fires don't advertise themselves, so 4 to 5 minutes is a tough one, But like KKD said, of course, you have to have hydrants, and have water. There are too many incidents. The fire tenders come and there's no water.
People carry water
and all kinds of.
I saw that going on the weekend. Yes, head porters with water in their heads.
What can be worse than having a fire and no water? You being there as firefighters and there's no water. I mean, it defeats the purpose.
Okay.
Plus, we've got the issue of traffic.
All right.
So I mean, it's a brilliant target.
Okay.
45 minutes. I hope they can do it, and I hope government will support them. We're losing too many properties and too many lives.
Indeed.
With fires.
Okay.
Has it occurred to you that the metropolitan authorities can make some easy money by just letting a fire truck go through traffic and have a motor rider film all those vehicles that do not give way for the fire truck to come through?
And then find them.
And find each one of them only 2,000 Ghana cedis.
Finish.
It is called the KBN. BT tax.
I know that tax, man. Gentlemen, I've enjoyed the conversation. Yesterday was this man's birthday. He didn't tell you.
Oh, he said he didn't want to have a big party like Osei Kwame, despite he's an actor. Every actor would have been there. Every celebrity would have been there. Why he didn't want to have a big party?
Because he knew he would come here and then he'll meet you.
No,
you sing happy birthday.
But I'm taking him for breakfast.
Can you sing that?
Let's go on breakfast.
Can you sing? Can you sing happy birthday to him?
No, the gospel to
listen to Pickedy sing to you.
Happy birthday to you.
Living cake.
Happy birthday, Inspector Bediako.
Hey,
happy birthday to you. How old are you now?
Oscar's blushing.
How old are you now?
16.
How old are you now? How old are you now? May God. May
Oh my God.
May God bless you now. May God bless you now. May God bless you now. Hip, 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 hip. Hooray! All the Ashantis, shut up. I heard hooray.
Oscar, happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much.
60 or 60, you look young.
60 or 60, whatever you are. Yes.
Why not?
Everybody join in. Come on.
Oh, good grief.
Oscar.
Let's move this.
Okay, come on.
Yes.
Let's all do it.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Clap it.
Oh, that's Oscar Provençal. It says
16 today, 16 tomorrow, and 16 forever.
The bad news is we're not allowed to eat sugar.
He can donate it to his friends. Thank you so much, Oscar. Thank you. Kwesi, thank you for the beautiful voice.
I'll take it.
Okay. It's all about emergency response, National Ambulance Service conversations happening with Thelma and her guest. So you stay tuned with us. Send us all your messages on 055-556-1034. Foster Ansong Bridjan, he's the Director of Operations, National Ambulance Service. Send all your questions to him. He's here to answer all of them for you. This is GTV Breakfast. So many messages. I think when we're wrapping up, we'll read them. So enjoy your breakfast with Oscar, and we'll read the messages. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Okay, to Movenpick we go.
Yes, move to Movenpick. All right, we'll be back after this National Ambulance Service conversation.
Also, night market, move them.
Also, night market.
Coming live from the capital. This is the Breakfast Show.
Good morning, my neighbor.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's a good morning, and we serve you breakfast.
Not just any breakfast.
Sizzling helping.
Yeah, all the time.
Okay, let's take a peek.
I brought my spine.
There are certain things that we do to help the children with their brushing.
And there's much more on offer on GTV Breakfast.
You want it served buffet style?
On-site restaurant.
Complimentary breakfast?
Off of your plate chicken vegetables. So in my lifetime, I haven't seen Ghana Black Stars win an African Cup.
Can I show what is written on the box?
Yes, definitely.
Where's the camera?
Just stand and turn.
So what's your pleasure than Votras here at that time of the morning? So never skip breakfast.
On GTV Breakfast.
From Monday to Friday at 6 a.m.
We've got you covered with a trusted team.
live from GBC Studio 1. This is the Breakfast Show.
Good morning. It's a good morning, and we serve you breakfast.
Not just any breakfast.
Sizzling healthy.
And there's much more on offer on GTV Breakfast.
So what's your pleasure than Votrasia at that time of the morning?
You want it served buffet style, complimentary breakfast?
On-site restaurant.
Or room service.
We've got you covered.
From Monday to Friday at 6 a.m.
With a trusted team.
So never skip breakfast.
On GTV Breakfast.
Coming live from the capital. This is the Breakfast Show.
Good morning, my neighbor.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's a good morning, and we serve you breakfast.
Not just any breakfast.
Sizzling healthy.
Yeah, all the time. Okay, let's take a peek. I brought my spine.
There are certain things that we do to help the children with their brushing.
And there's much more on offer on GTV Breakfast.
You want it served buffet style,
On-site restaurant.
complimentary breakfast?
Half of your plate should be vegetables. So in my lifetime, I haven't seen Ghana Black Stars win an African Cup.
Can I show what is written on the back?
Yes, definitely.
Wait.
Coming live from the capital. This is the Breakfast Show.
Thanks for staying on. And we asked, and you delivered. We asked you to share your experiences with us. We gave a number, and you did just that. And what experience was that? Experiences with the use of the National Ambulance Service, established in 2004 as an agency of the Ministry of Health. It has been charged with specific roles and responsibilities, and part of that is to provide emergency care and transport of critical patients to the hospital, among other things. What else do they do? And today we are going to try to find answers for ourselves and for you as well. So quickly, hit us up on our WhatsApp number with your questions. We have someone to answer all of them and share experiences if you haven't already. 05555610034, or send them to our Facebook streams or YouTube, or use the hashtag GTV Breakfast on Twitter so we can pick them up. So at the table this morning, Mr. Foster Ansong Brejan has joined me. He is Director of Operations of the National Ambulance Service, and he is our honored guest this morning. Thank you for joining us, and welcome.
Thank you very much.
Happy New Year to you, since we are meeting for the first time.
Many happy returns.
So we are trying to understand a bit more about your operations and what you do. By your mandate, what specifically are you supposed to service us with?
Thank you very much, and good morning to all your viewers. Yes, National Ambulance Service, as you said in your introduction, established in 2004. But our main mandate has been to deal with pre-hospital emergency medical care. When we say pre-hospital, what we mean is that we manage patients, both medical and trauma cases, stabilize them, and then we transport them to appropriate health facility for definitive care. So basically that is our mandate.
We're talking about pre-hospital emergency medical care.
Yes.
And dealing with medical and trauma cases,
yes,
where you have to stabilize the patient and transport.
Yes.
Okay. So in rendering these services, what challenges do you encounter?
Thank you very much. Yes, indeed. As any institution providing service, there are various challenges that we face in our daily activities. Major of these challenges are, one, the what we call the prank calls, where people call into our dispatch center when they don't need any service, just to make fun of the people. And per our 2020 report, we have about 80% of total calls received at the dispatch center being prank calls, which means anytime somebody needs the services of National Ambulance Service and somebody has called the line, engaged the line, the one who really needs our service will have to queue until any of the lines are free before you can have access to our service. So those who do these prank calls actually prevent those who really need our service from reaching us, which is very serious. So that is one major challenge that we encounter. If you put that one aside, I also say that the congestion of our roads also impede the free movement of the ambulances to the scene of an incident, which also reduced or increased our response time. Because we have response time, which internationally should be within between 6 and 10 minutes.
Okay.
But
what's the actual response time for Ghana?
Currently, per our 2020 reports, averagely it was 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
20 minutes. But that doesn't mean that all cases we use 20 minutes. Some less, but others are also more, depending on the location of the case and where the nearest ambulance is located. So that depends on that kind of location, where the case is, where the nearest ambulance is, and also the road condition, congestion on our roads, all are some of the factors that affect our response time.
I was hoping that you wouldn't mention that you don't have ambulances because, and you haven't, because government did take steps to ensure that about 307 were put into the system for your use. How has it improved your services? You're talking about people being able to get you to them in about 20 or so minutes, traffic allowing. Has it helped that these 307 ambulances came on board?
Yes, indeed. It has really improved on our services.
On your services, but has it improved on the service as received by the public?
Yes, indeed, because formally, if we look at our 2019 reports, the whole year we responded to just 6,950 or so cases for the whole year. 2020, after we received these new ambulances and we started using them, for just 2020 alone, we were able to respond to 38,255 cases. So that shows the improvement that has come into the system, how patients, how those who need our services are able to access it, because now we have enough ambulances in the system. Every constituency or every district for that matter has an ambulance station, and even some of the district has more than one ambulance station. So it shows clearly that with the incoming of these new ambulances, it has really helped improve the services that we render to our the people of Ghana. You're
saying each district sometimes have at least one ambulance.
At least one ambulance.
And sometimes more. What goes into deciding whether each district should get one or more ambulances?
Thank you. You know, when we started National Ambulance Service, our focus was on road traffic crashes. So the initial ambulance stations that were established were located on the main road corridors, so that in case there's any road traffic crash, they will be able to respond quickly to the scene. So if you take to Kumasi Road, we strategically located the ambulances right from Amasaman. In Sawam, we have an ambulance station there. Now we have ambulance station at Suhum. Even before Suhum, we have this. I'm just forgetting the name of this town. So Suhum, from Suhum, you go to Kibi, Bunsu Junction, that's to Sino. Then Nkoko, Gaso. So it goes like that, so that if there's any road traffic crash, they can quickly respond. After this, we also look at districts with high maternal cases, so that we will have an ambulance to be able to respond to said cases. So districts with high maternal cases were also taken care of. But as we speak now, all districts are covered. And also strategic places like government institutions like Ghana Gas, because of the location, we realize that they need a facility of that nature. So with partnership with Ghana Gas, we have assigned an ambulance to handle that area. You go to sports stadium, with the 2001 experience fresh in our minds, there is an ambulance station at the Accra Sports Stadium, so that it will to handle any cases that will come during sporting activities. So we realize that Sports Stadium and Osukrote, which is within Osukrote municipality, we also have a station at Ray. So that area alone, we have 3 stations in that area, all to be ensure that the stadium is taken care of. Ridge Hospital and its environments are also taken care of. And then Circle, you know, there are a lot of activities around Kwame Nkrumah Circle. So there's also a station there, so that in case of anything, they'll be able to manage it.
Okay, so that's the idea of how the distribution of ambulances are made. You mentioned stationing 1 ambulance at the stadium. You also do provide services where for mass public gatherings, the ambulances are dispatched to the venue. How often do you do this? And is this something that's part of your mandate, or do people have to pay for that service?
It's part of our mandate, especially when it comes to national program like Independence Anniversary. Anytime we are going to have it, we have to make sure that we have enough ambulances at the venue, so that we take care of anything that will happen during the match pass, especially the school children who may not be fit enough and may be fainting and those kind of things. So any national programs, we put ambulances at the venue. But if individuals are organizing their own program, like maybe health work, religious activities at their place of worship, they need the service of ambulance. That will have to before we move to that place.
And that comes at a fee.
Yes.
And it would mean that the ambulance would have to leave its station to be at that private request venue. Okay, that makes perfect sense. Under what conditions should a person require an ambulance service? So you've talked about prank calls. Definitely do not call the ambulance service if you do not have a medical emergency. But at what times, in desperate times, do people call you? Should they call you?
We run 24/7, meaning the whole day, the whole night, every day in the week we are working. So we have personnel at the dispatch center, those who receive the calls, interrogate the caller to find out exactly what is wrong, where the patient is, and based on that, they look at which of the ambulance is closer and available to the scene, and then they will decide that ambulance to respond.
So what's the National Ambulance Service number? We know this, but we like to ask, because some of you will send the questions to us, and we want him to address it head on, so it's not a presenter saying the number is this. So let people know what the number is.
Okay, so now we have National Emergency Number, which is responsible for all emergency services. Here you are talking about the police, National Ambulance Service, Fire Service, and NANBU, and it's 112. 112. So if you dial that number, that short code 112, it goes to any of these emergency service providers, dispatch centers or control rooms, including even National Security. National Security also has a center where you can receive the call there. So if they receive the call there and it is for ambulance service, then they will transfer the call to National Ambulance Service. If it is for police, they do the same. So they have people there who also receive calls. So it is not all the calls will come to the center. Because the number is 1. It can go to police, it can go to fire, it can go to National Security, it can go to NADMO. So anywhere that the call is terminated, then whoever receives the call, if it is for National Ambulance Service, then they will transfer the call to National Ambulance Service.
Okay.
So your call may not come directly to us. So sometimes if it delays, they may think that our people are the cause of it, but it's not so. Somebody has engaged the line, and so your call will have to wait.
So what kind of information do you need to have on hand when you call 111 so 112. That you 112 so that you are ensured that you get to, for example, National Ambulance Service quicker? What information do you need to have at the back of your mind? And I guess it depends on what questions will be asked you.
Yes.
So that you prepare.
So when you dial the number, and fortunately it gets right to our dispatch center, whoever pays the call will first introduce himself or herself. Good morning, National Ambulance Service. How may I help you? And that will enable you to know that yes, this call was received at our dispatch center. So they will find out your name, your callback number, and then the type of request that you are making, if it's it's an emergency, what type of emergency? Is it trauma, which is road traffic crash? Is it accident in the domestic accident? Or is it patient who needs our services? So these questions will be asked. So we appeal to our the general public that they should have patience with us, because without asking certain questions, they would not be able to know what kind of case, so that they will also be able to dispatch the appropriate ambulance to respond. I'm saying appropriate ambulance because depending on the case, how critical the case is, they have to make sure that the ambulance coming has certain facilities in them, so that when they are able to manage that case.
Does that presuppose that all ambulances do not have the exact same equipment or do not carry the exact same ability to provide certain kinds of care?
In terms of equipment, they are all the same.
Okay.
But sometimes we also look at personnel on duty. You know, we have 3 levels in emergency medical care. We have 3 levels of training. We have what we call the basic training, emergency medical technicians who are basic at the basic level. Then we have the advanced level, and then we have the paramedic level. So if the case demands certain interventions, and whether that those on duty in a particular station may not have an advanced emergency medical technician on board at that time, then they have to make sure that the another ambulance who has that level of training of the personnel will have to come and
Okay, I guess that makes it clear enough. So we are asking you to be a part of this conversation because you send us messages all the time asking. Today, Mr. Foster Ansambridjan is here to answer your questions for the National Ambulance Service, and we are heating up to the one that we know that you definitely want answers to. And we put a poll out there, and we're going to link to our Twitter feed very shortly. And Mr. Ansong, you would see some of the stories and experiences that people are sharing with us. Kafride, you should follow him on Twitter, is at Kafride. Ask this question on our behalf. Our ambulance, our services are free, and that's according to National Ambulance Service. And he asked that you share experiences with the ambulance service with us. And we asked the question, did you pay? Let me first put this question to Mr. Bridjan. Your services are free, are they not?
They are free.
Okay.
Let me explain this way. Just recently,
I hear a bat coming. But
just recently,
let me hear it.
Just recently, we all heard about the unfortunate incident in Apiati, Western region, where that explosion. National Ambulance Service deployed 11 ambulances and 37 personnel to the scene. We responded to 57 cases, which they transported to various hospitals within the region. Have you heard that somebody saying that National Ambulance Service collected any money from these victims? No. That is our core mandate, and we make sure that we deliver that core mandate without any problem. So that is where we are saying that our services are indeed free when it comes to management of emergency cases in the country.
Let's see what the public thinks, and our Twitter page is buzzing, and we are sharing some of you. It's hitting your screen now. Here is one from Kweku Cyber, and he's saying free. They are not free. They charged my dad 280 Ghana cedis from Interbeton Cape Coast to Effiang Kwanta Hospital and back. They claimed it was money for fuel. More responses that we received, and they'll be popping up on your screens. Efwa Battels joins the fray. A lot of experiences, and I always pay. According to them, they don't give receipts. I'm not about to argue for one when it's a matter of life and death. ABC Mason, exactly, that's the position they put you in, knowing that it's a matter of life and death, so you will just pay, which isn't supposed to be. Urgency has been made a jackpot, and it is sad. You'll be safe, though, is the advice from ABC on Twitter, and more followed, and I will give you the opportunity to respond. And they just kept pouring in. Godface said, you actually pay before they move. If you don't pay, you'll be surprised. Legend joins, their services are free. In which country is the question? I was asked to pay 400 Ghana cedis from Kofodia to Ridge in 2017 to transfer my dad for an operation. And it's not just them saying, Vigor, Edem Vigor on Twitter is saying, free for where? He adds Chia with plenty A's. And the Galaxy joins with, which components of the service they offer to us is free? Certainly not fuel. So are there components of the services rendered by the National Ambulance Service that are free? And fuel is not part, according to Sir Galaxy. More, I can't. Timothy is the name that I can readily pronounce. I paid for patients from Tamale to Accra. No cash, no movement. So the officer told me. Pakwesi Martins, free. Apu. Late last year, I wanted their service to transfer my brother from Ridge Hospital to St. Joseph's in Kofodia. The guy said 400 Ghana cedis. And MMC Kate joined with his comment. I was with my friend when he paid 1,800 cedis to carry his mom from Kolibu back to Tamale. She died at Kintampo. So harrowing experiences being shared. Felix Shaka says they charge for fuel. Pando to Wo is 150 to 200. Pando to Accra is 350 to 400 Ghana cedis. MCT IT Solutions, because of delay in payment of what they called service fee, I lost my auntie and her unborn child in 2013. These are only a few of the comments that we managed to sift through because we got tons of them, and there's so much more on our WhatsApp platform that we will be reading to you very shortly. And it all has one basic theme, that if you say it's free, perhaps it's in another Umofia Republic, but this Ghana Republic, they are not free.
Yeah. You see, from what you have even just read, I want us to have do some analysis here. Let me first state that when we say our services are free, like somebody asked, it is not just the transport that we do. We are not like a taxi, excuse me to say, or a trotro. Then we put a patient in and then we go. Ambulance service provides service, just like a hospital provides service in the hospital. We use oxygen when we pick patients with respiratory distress. We provide oxygen if the journey is 3-4 hours. Oxygen will be on the patient throughout. We don't charge for that. We use consumables to manage the cases. No patient is charged for the consumables that we use. Any of the service that we do in the ambulance is free. Yes, but if you go to hospital, everything that they do for you, even you pay consultation fee. If you are not paying directly, health insurance is paying. We don't pay for, nobody pays for all those things that we provide for our patients. However,
that's the bat I saw coming.
However, if we, in the reading, the tweets that we read, two of them saying that one transported a patient from Accra to Tamale, and also one from Tamale to Accra. Let's look at the vehicle that we are using. We say that every liter of fuel will travel with 7 kilometers. So which means 7 kilometers per liter of fuel. Now let's look at the cost of fuel. 1 liter of fuel is what? 7 cedis 30 pesos. If you go by GOIL, 7 cedis 30 pesos. Our tank takes 100 liters. So when you fill full tank, that is 730 Ghana cedis. From Tamale to Accra, you will fill your tank twice before you get to Accra. So that alone is what? 1,460 cedis. The vehicle will go back another 1,460 cedis. Put it together. One case, we are spending over 2,800 cedis for one case. So if government is providing fuel for us to run, and we use 2,400 plus to transport only one case, which may not even be a case that they are only transferring because they need maybe tertiary care at the next facility. So how much can government provide to transport all such cases free without patient or relatives supporting us?
So government does not give you fuel?
What I'm saying is that government provides the fuel. Okay. But if we are using 2,000, almost 3,000 to transport only one case, and you know, government resources are not just that, it's not limited. We cannot be able to sustain the service if really we want to provide quality of service to all our patients. So at a point in time, there will be the need for somebody to foot that bill.
Mr. So you are implying that sometimes, do I get that understanding? You are implying that sometimes you are admitting that the cost is transferred to the customer.
It becomes necessary that we ask the patient or patient relatives to support, because we cannot get fuel to transport a patient all the way from Tamale to Accra and go back, and then when there is an emergency like what happens in Apiati, ambulance will say that we don't have fuel, so we cannot. So
that's an official position from the National Ambulance Service, that because the fuel inflows cannot satisfy the huge demand, sometimes, according to you, sometimes you have to ask patients. Is that an official position?
Yes, because if we don't do that, then the service will come to a halt that we cannot operate.
That makes sense. Because so then what are the laid down procedures to standardize this, and why are receipts not issued if indeed it is an official position by the service?
See, we don't issue receipts to such cases. It's not something that it has been mandated.
But you just said it's an official position.
No, what I'm saying is that when it becomes necessary, it is not something that it is done across board. That's why I'm saying that it is not something that has been mandated that every case we have to take money. But when it becomes necessary, when we are, our back is against the wall, that there's nothing you can do. But we can also not say that you cannot provide the service.
So when your back is against the wall, that is when the patient, who most times at the point of need of an ambulance, is perhaps a matter of life and death. That is when you're told, according to some of the tweets, no cash, no movement. That's what Timothy said.
That cannot be true. That cannot be true, because there have been some instances where even officers use their money. But that one, it doesn't come to the limelight, so nobody sees it. I personally, in the night, midnight, when I was asleep, got a call from our crew transporting a patient who has been knocked down. There's no relative. They sent the patient to hospital. They were not ready to accept the patient because there was no relative. But if we will be able to pay for certain services like a scan, then they will be willing to take the patient. I have to send Momo to the crew to pay 350 for a CT scan before the patient was accepted. These things don't come to light, so nobody sees what we are also doing to support the same patients.
The sacrifices have been noticed by some, and we received some messages only because they are not highlighted. We received some messages who said, look, an ambulance driver stayed with my mother throughout. They gave us the stretcher so that my mother could be attended to at hospital because there was no bed, and because of that, perhaps the mother survived. You received glowing tribute for the almost immediate response to Apiate. So the good news is there.
Those ones are also not publicized for the public to know the good thing that National Ambulance Service is doing.
Can I suggest that only perhaps
when there is an infraction, then that one is blown out of proportion?
May I suggest that perhaps it is when the people's backs are against the wall and they are in a bad situation and they are confronted with this, and it just makes them all the more agitated. We have a number of audios to that we will play, because we do not deny the fact that the ambulance has done sterling work for hundreds, if not thousands of people across the country. But the fact remains that the charges are being made and no receipts are issued, and we don't even know whether the monies that people pay gets to National Ambulance Service or enters a dark of some bottomless pits somewhere. And perhaps that's the concern. does that sound like a fair? Let's listen to some of the audios that we received. So we've got some videos as well, and then we'll come back to Mr. Brejan to answer. He's the Director of Operations at the National Ambulance Service, and he's attempting to answer our questions. Let's have a listen.
They were saying that some if you ambulance service there. So Madia and then I'm not for you because ambulance buy a budget for Papa. So to me, who's asking this, I am very critical. Who ambulance now within a short period of time? Me, I got my experience. I was saying that some a quiet car no far some bony panel. I have ambulance, no, she said, sir, car is a two. Say then within a short period of time now in the ambulance in there about boy pa bonfire say the bia bi ni bia no na dan kwaku fodo omo modia na bi nu ho the boy pa social media bo me pa ade me di she bia free owom because sa ewo kala bo me di she na nye adeketwa then kase ni wo so if you say ambulance le ba de tumi di no dru ji ntamo no bibia kwaso ma kama nti ambulance in there babu agara for pa.
Good morning to all Ghanaians. Please listen to me. It is very important for me to add my voice to the challenges and the problems that we face in Ghana when it comes to ambulance services in our country. In Ghana, the ambulance services is very, very sad, very, very sad story when it comes to ambulancing. People are dying on our streets without good ambulance services. People are dying in our villages without ambulance services. And I'm wondering what the Ministry of Health is doing when it comes to ambulances. At the moment, as I speak to Ghanaians, how many ambulances are out of services in the nation? And how many ambulances are not working? When you look at 30 million population of the nation, and then you look at the number of ambulances that we have, there are some villages, when someone dies, they carry them on a motorcycle on the back of a human being to take them to the mortuary. We have women in critical conditions when they are pregnant and they need to deliver babies in the villages, in the districts, in the remote areas of the country. They find it difficult to get an ambulance to pick them up. I believe that our Ghanaian leadership...
Okay, good morning, my sister. You see, I have to be sincere with you. You see, every institution has managers, right? So such a health facility, manager there. So if you, the manager of a hospital or a polyclinic or a health institution, they assign an ambulance to you, and you claim you are the one who are managing the place, and you cannot what? See to it that the ambulance is what? Is in good standing, and it is serving the purpose of which what is assigned to you. Then I don't think that you are fit to manage such an institution. You ask yourself, how do you manage yourself, your home? How do you manage your car in a house? So that the nation will spend a lot of money to procure all these ambulances. They assign 1 or 2 ambulances under your care, and you as the hospital administrator or the manager, you cannot see to it that the ambulance is in good standing and it is working well. I tell you that you, the manager, you are not fit to be there.
The ambulance service, many will say, is a free service. Why? Because you call them in emergencies and they assist you transfer your patient from one facility to the other. But is it free, really, in the context of what free connotes? We went out to speak to members of the public to find out what their views are about the service. Many who spoke to us had this to say about.
My mother was in an isolated room, and there was this test that they want to conduct on her. So they say we should send her to CCT. So from there, they said we have to call the ambulance. And when they called the ambulance, they told her that the charge is, they give us amount that we have to pay. So that very day, I remember we pay for it, just from the isolation center to the CCT.
So this happened within the same Ridge Hospital facility, yes. And you paid the service within the same.
Yes, exactly. Actually, they were saying that there is no ambulance around, so they will call ambulance from some place to come, and that's why they told us we will pay. So, but I don't know. I don't have an idea of how the ambulance service is run.
I use it on the Legon campus, and I had gone for a race, like long race, and I had a knee problem, so they had to convey me from campus to the Legon hospital.
Did you have to pay for it?
No, please. It was free.
Ambulance for no, you're from Obe from no, Obe delay, akoya di person oye, ansana, Obe pekini pano. Eti, Obosi mo mu de Frank, yebre, ewo honum.
Na me pacho ufre ambulance na den na ohia nti na ufre omo.
Me mama bi yale. Eti ona number no eye yi ni no bechi ba na frey on the omo yi e no frey ye gina ko be 30 minutes. 30 minutes na ambulance no e ko be 1 hour.
Mr. Foster Anson Brejan, I do not envy you at all this morning. There's still more pouring in as people watch us right now, and CAF is standing by to read some of your messages, and then Mr. Brejan will give us some answers. CAF.
Yes. I'm not happy because
the screen is not happy.
Yeah,
and it's transferring to you.
I have my own experience that I'll share with you. Interesting. We are both misinformed and uninformed. Ambulance services are not free, even in first world countries. It costs you over £200 to get an ambulance transport in the UK, about €600 to €800 in parts of Europe, and you dare not. We've watched so many movies. We think that's how it's supposed to be, and it's free. So if people are paying, why do you tell us it's free, Mr. I'll give you my experience, okay? In November, my uncle was sick. He was in Qatar, and he had to be transported to Ho for a lab test. I said, okay, let's take him. They said, no, they can't move without fuel. I said, what the hell? It's free. And they said, no, we have to pay. I said, how much? 500 Ghana cedis. So me and a cousin of ours contributed and paid. I asked for a receipt. They don't give receipts. If it's a fee that they're supposed to pay, why don't you give us receipts?
Some of this... we need to investigate.
No, there's nothing to investigate.
Because the one that even the distance.
Let me tell you what happened.
Yes.
I spoke to National Ambulance Service, one of your bosses. He says he wants to know whether it's a private ambulance or it's a public ambulance. I checked. It was a public ambulance, and they were going to charge me 500 Ghana cedis to take my uncle from Qatar to Ho. They did that. They did not give me a receipt. Was that payment a legitimate payment?
That is why I'm saying that some of these things we have to find out, because even the distance, even if they have to pay something, we have to look at the distance, whether it demands that 500 that was taken.
If there's a fee, we should know on your website that if you are going from Ho to Qatar, it's 100 cedis per kilometer.
And it should be standardized.
It should be standardized. We should have a receipt. So, do they declare the money to you? Do they report money back to the office and say, we took 500 from Kafri Day and his cousin?
This one was in the region.
Yes.
So whatever be the case, is the regional administrator who will be able to know exactly what that money was used for.
This is my suspicion. Your guys are making money off us. Your guys running the ambulances are taking money from us. They are exploiting us at a moment where we are very emotionally unstable. We are vulnerable. I've seen figures of 10,000, 5,000, 3,000. My 500 is small. If we are going to pay, let us know we're going to pay, and then we pay. We get there, we pay. Don't tell us it's free, and then you charge us this money when we want us to live. So we'll find the money and pay.
I have already explained to you that when it comes to rendering our emergencies, nobody asks for anything.
But we are paying, Mr. Fons.
You see, whether someone is paying for fuel or paying for oxygen, there's a payment.
Yes, there's a payment. So what I'm saying is, if you are transporting somebody from Ketai to Ho, depending on the type of case,
he was going for a lab. He was going for a lab.
So a lab is not an emergency.
So
yes, but why did I pay for that money?
We have already explained that sometimes we are handicapped because the fuel that we have is supposed to be used to run emergencies.
Mr. Baker, you just said the service. Let me support your comment here. You just said when people consume oxygen and consumables and whatnot, whatever happens in the ambulance is free.
Yes.
And so these that people are fining people to pay are for fuel. But if the service you're offering is free, whether or not the person is going for a lab or is going to do X, Y, Z, it shouldn't matter.
Madam, I made some analysis for you. Imagine a station will be given 2,000 worth of fuel to run its operations. And then one case is taking all the 2,000, even they have to find additional money to support that. How do we run when there's an emergency?
So the suggestion is let's perhaps standardize
I agree with you that
you just told us you don't even, people perhaps don't even account for these monies that they collect. Hence, CAF's suggestion that perhaps people are being exploited in their time of need. Do you understand?
I understand you that some people may abuse the system.
They are with due respect, it's not me. They are abusing. It feels like you are paying a bribe to a police officer, because those guys also don't give us receipts. That's what it feels like. That okay, your uncle is going somewhere, bring the 500 or you're not moving. That's what it is.
I don't.
And if there's yes, because there's no receipt. If you say it's we're supposed to pay, we must have a receipt. There's no receipt. It's a bribe. It's extortion. They are extorting us.
Because they play on people's emotions, and in that moment of desperation, you have no choice but to cough up the money, and it has to be the agreed sum or nothing. So there's more messages coming in. Nana Ejir, the Nana who joined us from the Chimping of Cape Coast, asked about how many ambulances are currently working, how many are out of service. You mentioned when you watched the video of the Vox Pop we did with people in the public about private ambulances, because you were saying that behind the scenes. So how many of these are private ambulances, and how do we know that if you are dealing with and not a private service, so that when people are unleashing violence, they'll know where to go?
Our ambulances are branded, and when you see National Ambulance Service ambulance, you know that this ambulance is coming from National Ambulance Service. Our names are on it, and the red, gold, green colors are on it.
So let's talk about the numbers. So how many are out of service now? How many are working?
For now, almost all the ambulances are working, unless maybe it has gone for service and it is not yet back.
Okay.
Or it is involved in maybe some accident and it is under repairs. But almost all the ambulances, everywhere you go, all the ambulances are functioning.
I would have two substantive. I'll come back to you,
yes.
Cap. You're saying that people make prank calls. It's something that you addressed before the operationalizing of the service. I remember sometime back in 2004, and you told people do not make prank calls to the ambulance service. How do you intend to stem that tide? You say 80% of the calls you received, according to the 2020 report, are prank calls. What's being done to those people?
You know, the person will just call. They will pay the call, and then you realize that what he's saying doesn't make sense.
What's being done to them?
We have reported this to National Security, because National Security also has the system. And you know, we on our own cannot go after said people. So definitely somebody will have to take it up. So
you also mentioned congestion as one of your key challenges. Is there a conversation about perhaps getting a dedicated emergency lane for the use of ambulances and other emergency response vehicles? And perhaps because you are an ambulance, you can only speak for your service. Is that conversation even on the board?
I don't think we are yet there, because looking at our road infrastructure currently in our country, I think it will be difficult for us to have a dedicated lane for emergency vehicles, because our roads are not widened enough even to create that dedicated lane. That's why it's something that maybe going into the future. But
what's being done to those who misuse the ambulance, those who used it to cut cement? Yesterday, I saw one giving somebody a lift to the back gate of GBC. If the security cameras are working, that driver should be in very serious trouble. So people are using the life-saving vehicles for other uses. Somebody carted cement from some place to Botiano area. What has been done to that person?
You know that that case came up, and it was clear that it wasn't any of our staff who did that. And
but it was the
service provider. No, it's the service provider whose vehicle, the vehicle was in the workshop for repairs that thing happened. And the company dealt with that person.
Okay. Messages. This is from, well, he says he's suggesting that a bill should be sent to Parliament to standardize the transport fare so a receipt can be issued, so we can be free in our minds that the money is going to end up in the appropriate courts. Because for now, it looks like people take advantage of us. Now, a colleague of ours spent 1,000 cedis to transport from Techiman to Kumasi. Yes, 1,000 cedis. Your guys are they're extorting us. What is the rate? What is the rate? What is the fare?
You see,
what is the rate from
some of these things? That's why I'm saying that if this is brought into our notice,
how do people report these things? Okay, perhaps that's the comment. If you feel that you've been shortchanged by an ambulance service, a national ambulance service, and you want redress, let's assume that it was an emergency situation, you had no choice. They said cough up X amount, you paid it, but you feel you've been shortchanged. What should you do? How do you even document that transaction to come to you for redress?
Definitely, if you call the office, you take it up.
Mr. Anson, I'm going to suggest something. Now we're going to be like policemen with body cams.
Citizen vigilante.
You're going to be just imagine you're a police officer with a body cam. All right. If the guy charges you for 300 cedis, I'll pay you the money on condition that I'll take care of you receiving my money. Okay, that's how we're going to do it now. They charge you for money. They say it's mandated. So
journalism.
I'll take a picture of you receiving that money from you, and if you have do they have numbers?
They have their name tags.
Fantastic. So take a picture. This is my suggestion. Take a picture of the guy who is charging you that money. Don't accept Momo. Let the guy come. Give him the cash. And take a picture of him so that at the right time we'll use that as a receipt. Because you're not giving us receipts. Mr. D. You're not giving us receipts.
Just call him Kafu.
Kafu is good.
You see, you are making it look as if National Ambulance Service, everything is payments.
That is what it is. When we ask for ambulance, they ask us for money. That's it.
I have already explained that. Those are the minutes.
500 cedis.
I tell you the number of cases we are transporting free of charge. You see,
tell us.
So if one or two,
it's not one or two. It's not one or two, sir. Please don't disrespect our viewers. It's not one or two. We have a ton of messages. I can read. I can spend the next hour just reading messages. I can spend the next hour just reading messages. Please, it is an epidemic. People are extorting our people. Your guys and girls are making money on the ground. If it's not a free service, let us know. Publish the schedule on your website, then we know. Kumasi to Techima, 109 kilometers. Every kilometer, 7 cedis. Do the multiplication. If we put a multiplier on the website, we know what we are paying. We get our receipt. Otherwise, it's just you are extorting us.
You receive the funds as well. You receive the funds as well that these officers are charging, so that perhaps you can put it back into a system of giving even better service. Do you get people's frustrations, Mr. Bridget? Because you're paying money and you want to be sure that, like paying taxes, it's going to the right place. It's a GRA that is receiving the tax. Ghost or shell company somewhere, or a shell individual who is amassing wealth for his individual self and his family at the expense of the health of the nation. And people are really frustrated. I just hope that we're giving you honest, constructive feedback as people are experiencing on the street and perhaps do not have the channel to go for a redress. So where do people go? You say people should report. Where should they go? We can't call 112 because it's an emergency number. Is there a number people can call when they have issues such as this to report? And what kind of services would be offered them to, can they even get their money back? This one that you're saying is being used to buy fuel. Then the money is not coming back. So why should they even bother reporting?
Let's look at all cases on its own. But don't lump it all together and make it a case. We have been able to render serious emergency services to a lot of people, and they are really appreciative. So where there are challenges, what I'm expecting all of us here, including you journalists, to see is how can the National Ambulance Service be resourced enough through maybe philanthropies, private bodies and others, so that when we say it is free, then we all say that it is free, because we are getting the resources needed to run the service. Because I want to say that national government alone cannot provide the fuel to. We have 297 ambulance stations across the country. Okay, 297 ambulance stations across the country. So if even you fill the tank, which is about 730 cedis at a time, multiply that alone by 297
free fuel.
I fully appreciate all that.
How many ministers do we have in Ghana? How many MPs don't they get free fuel? Directors, don't they get free fuel? We have 300 and something ambulances. Why can't you make a case for them to fuel your things for you? We have ministers running around. They park and they keep their engines on while they're having conversations.
But the AC is running.
Yeah. So why can't they give you fuel? You have to make a better case.
All of you.
We're not going to make our case.
All of you
make the case
have
for
a
yourself.
role to play.
No.
Everybody must ensure that National Ambulance Service. National Ambulance for everybody.
Yes, but you
need it.
You are being paid for the job.
So let's all do our part, and the service will be
your
well for all of us.
Director of Operations.
Yes.
Director of Operations is a big job. You have to make a case for
Mr. Anson.
If it's not free, tell us. And then we put it on your website. Then we know it's not free. But if you tell us it's free and we have to pay fuel, it's not free.
Look,
and it's traumatic for people who are taking their people to the hospital and they're thinking of money and things, and people die on the way.
Thank you, CAF. Your passion. You need some awake purified water. Because he's been there and lives have been lost. Mr. Anson, perhaps may I suggest that the reason when you ask for help, you must have exhausted your own internal ways of raising funds to support yourself. So if I want to buy a new phone and I go to Valerie and I say, Valerie, help me get a new phone, how much do you have is what she will ask me. If I say I have nothing and I want an iPhone 13 Pro Max 2.0, that is me coming from a place of disadvantage. But if you're asking for help, these are loopholes that perhaps you can plug. And individuals are perhaps making money that should be coming directly to the National Ambulance Service, which it could use to improve its service, as I've suggested before. So if you found a way to standardize this, to make sure that these monies are coming to you, and government gave you 100 liters of fuel, perhaps you can buy yourself 50 the standardized charges that you may have published on a website, which would tell people exactly what to expect and not to be thrown in on the deep end when there is an emergency. It's what our viewers and the people who have contacted us, that's the message they want us to pass on to you, so that you initiate the steps to bring some standardization to the system, because the services are not free.
Thank you very much. We will do our best to ensure that, because you know we are not on our own, we are under a ministry. So whatever decision needs to be taken should be taken at that level. So we will also pass on some of these comments to the ministry, so that the ministry will also look at how best to handle some of these issues.
We will be very glad to help you in making all of these things happen, to make sure that the system is improved and everybody is happy. And on our felicitations in regards to your team, the hard-working members of the Ghana Ambulance Service who do back-breaking work to save people's lives. Unfortunately, some bad nuts want to give them a bad name, but we are fully in support of those who are doing legitimate good work and they are saving lives. And the whole country is grateful to you for your service. Thank you, Mr. Brejan. Mr. Foster Anson Brejan is the Director of Operations of the National Ambulance Service. He's receiving a lot of heat today on behalf of his men in the ambulances for how they operationalize the services that they provide. So if you have a question, you have concern, be in touch with the service and they will be of help to you. We are getting ready to go to the Yellow Couch for another conversation, and Valerie is ready to sit down to unearth yet another talent, as we do on our midweek edition of Breakfast on GTV. We'll be back after the break.
Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show.
Good morning, my neighbor.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's a good morning, and we serve you breakfast.
Not just any breakfast.
Sizzling helping.
Yeah, all the time. Okay, let's take a peek. I brought my spine.
There are certain things that we do to help the children with their brushing.
And there's much more on offer on GTV Breakfast.
You want it served buffet style?
On-site restaurant.
Complimentary breakfast?
Off of your plate chicken vegetables. So in my lifetime, I haven't seen Ghana Black Stars win an African Cup.
Can I show what this restaurant is about?
Yes, definitely.
Where's the camera?
Stand and turn.
So what's your pleasure than Votras, yeah? At that time of the morning. So never skip breakfast.
On GTV Breakfast.
From Monday to Friday at 6 a.m.
We've got you covered with a trusted team.
Live from GBC Studio 1, this is the Breakfast Show.
Good morning.
It's a good morning, and we serve you breakfast.
Not just any breakfast.
Sizzling helping.
And there's much more on offer on GTV Breakfast.
So what's your pleasure than Votras, yeah? At that time of the morning.
You want it served buffet style? Complimentary breakfast?
On-site restaurant.
Or room service?
We've got you covered.
From Monday to Friday at 6 a.m.
With a trusted team.
So never skip breakfast.
On GTV Breakfast.
Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show.
Good morning, my neighbor.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's a good morning, and we serve you breakfast.
Not just any breakfast.
Sizzling helping.
Yeah, all the time. Okay, let's take a peek. I brought my spine.
There are certain things that we do to help the children with their brushing.
And there's much more on offer on GTV Breakfast.
You want it served buffet style?
On-site restaurant.
Complimentary breakfast?
Off of your plate chicken vegetables. So in my lifetime, I haven't seen Ghana Black Stars win an African Cup.
Can I show what this restaurant is about?
Yes, definitely.
Where's the camera?
Just stand and turn.
So what's your pleasure than Votras, yeah? At that time of the morning. So never skip.
Okay, so guys, let's meet my guy, Kadmili. Kadmili,
hello.
welcome
Valerie.
to the Yellow Couch.
Thank you very much.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good this morning.
Okay. Did you follow the conversation about the ambulance service?
Yeah, I heard a bit of it.
Okay. But what are your general thoughts? Have you experienced, have you used the ambulance service before?
No.
No, so you haven't experienced anything?
No.
But would you pay for the Ghana ambulance service?
I don't think it should be paid for. I think that's something government should take care of because it's a social amenity, so I think the government should take charge of that.
Okay. Right. So tell us, you released 2 singles early on last year.
Yes, please.
How's it doing on the market?
It's been good. Yeah, people are listening. People love the songs, so I think
Okay. So Camille, how long have you been around officially as a musician?
Officially, I started somewhere in August last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the feedback you got?
Yeah, it's been positive.
Okay. Now let's. I know you said your first ever song you wrote yourself was a rap song in GSS.
Yeah, in GHS.
Okay. So music is like you started music pretty early. You're a young artist, so there's still room to grow. So tell us like how and why you decided to be a musician.
Okay, so I decided to do music because it's what I love. It's my passion. I've always had the ears. When I was growing up, when I hear songs, I would like to sing my own way.
Okay.
That kind of thing. So growing up, I was like, that's when I tried in GHS, did one song, but it was just for fun.
Okay. Yeah.
So when I entered SHS, I was like, nah, I can actually do this as my profession and make money from it. So.
And you've made that decision. You're sticking to it.
Yes.
Okay. Are you in school?
No, I've completed.
Where?
University of Professional Studies.
UPSA.
Yes,
What did you study?
Business administration.
Okay. So are you gonna continue with education? Are you gonna go into a profession, or you are going to stick to music fully?
Yeah, for now I'm doing music solely, but I'm looking forward to doing my masters.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't know what that will be in yet, do you?
Yeah, but probably it will be soon.
Okay. So most young artists that I speak to, most of them have issues at home with their parents, and their parents do not want them to go into music, and they say, hey, I've paid all the school fees, you're going to go into music. Are your parents, perhaps your guardians, are they okay with you going into music?
Yeah, they are very supportive. My dad and my mom, my siblings, everyone is very supportive. My dad especially. He just wants me to do good music, so, and that's what I'm doing. I'm on the path.
It's nice, huh, to have your dad in your corner.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so what influenced your first two singles? Well, the first one. Which one did you release first?
Like I Do.
Like I Do.
Yes.
What inspired Like I Do?
So Like I Do is a story about when a guy gives a girl all the love he can give, and the girl is not appreciative enough. Yeah. So I took inspiration from that, and I did a song.
Like I Do.
Yeah, Like I Do.
And then the second one?
The second one was Tempted. The second one, I saw a movie.
Okay.
I took my inspiration from a movie where the guy had a girlfriend, but was cheating, and the girl too had the same situation, vice versa. Yeah. Okay. And I did that.
Okay. Are you sure it's not from a personal experience? Okay, so let's let Ghanaians enjoy. This is an intro to Cadmili. Enjoy his song. It's coming up in a few seconds.
Don't pick up. They think me, they do me, they make her they go mental. Yeah, I'm watching the snap where you caught in the pool like that. Oh, they jam your mom in kwan. Oh, they jam your mom in kwan. trouble get yesterday. Still you know, if you don't do gra-gra, for your body you go gaga. What you want, Gucci or Prada? Me know, I'm ready for that day. No way, I no go shit it again. And if you don't wish to the come and go, you go be go again. But no way, I no go shit it again. And if you don't wish to the come and go, you go be go again. You go love you.
Okay, so you see, yeah, he was worth bringing into the studio. Camille, I love the song, and I know girls. I mean, this is a song for the girl. They are going to love it too. What went into it? Where was the video shot?
So the video was shot at 3 locations: home, the Ifuasa Daland Park, and a garden somewhere in East Legon. Yeah.
Wow, how long did it take you guys to put the video together?
The shooting of the video took a day, and the editing took like a month.
Wow. Yeah. And what's the feedback you're getting? Do you know perhaps the number of views it has on YouTube yet?
Yeah, on YouTube it has 7,000 plus views now, and people are generally loving the video. People really love the direction of the song. Yeah.
And it's the kind of song where you have to listen to certain songs. You have to listen to it 2 or 3 times before you sync with it. But this is the kind of song where it just sticks in your head. Yeah. That's a good one on you. So, Like I Do is on the EP.
Yeah, it's on my EP.
When are you releasing the EP?
The EP is out.
Is it already out?
Yeah.
Okay. How many songs are on the EP?
There are 5 songs.
Including Like I Do.
Including Like I Do. Like
Tempted.
I Do. No, it's not on the EP.
Okay.
The EP has O2, that's track number 1. Number 2 is Like I Do. Number 3 is Bedu.
Bedu? What does Bedu mean?
Bedu means sound, like music.
Okay.
It's Nigerian. Okay. It's a Nigerian slang.
I think I've heard it in Benu's music or something.
Bedu. Then Alone. Then Jejeli.
Alone. Okay. And Jeje. Why Alone?
Alone because as and when I did that song, I wanted to be alone. I took inspiration from a happening that occurred, and at that time I didn't want anybody around me, so I was just like, I want to be alone.
What happened? Did somebody break your heart?
I lost my football match. There was a football match that was ongoing, and it really got me sad.
What game was that?
It was a Ghana match, Black Stars.
And then it influenced your song?
Yeah, it influenced. I take inspiration from
amazing stuff. Yeah. You write your own music?
Yeah, I do.
So all the songs, how many songs on the EP? 5 or 6?
5 songs.
So all the 5 songs you wrote?
Yeah, I co-wrote 2 songs with Traffic and Doro.
Traffic, right.
Yeah, but the revealing was done by me.
Okay. We are wishing you success on the EP. I'm hoping an album is in the pipeline soon. Hopefully.
Soon. Yeah.
Right. You've been around officially for like since August last year, officially. But you've been around for a while. I'm sure you've hung around studios, you've hung around musicians and all of those. Yeah. What are your general views about the music industry that you are going to be? You're part of it now.
Yeah, I think it's open for improvement. The music industry is doing good now. It's better than before. I was hoping the world recognizes that, and with time, I think we are being recognized. Yeah. So we are getting there, and I hope to be part of the success of African music.
Yes, I hope you are too. Yeah. Now, because I have you here and I'm allowed to put you on the spot, how well do you know your high life history? Ghanaian high life history.
I know a little.
A little, huh?
A little about high life. Yeah.
Okay, so who would be your top 3 high life musicians to go to? Some of the oldies, perhaps, to have a remix with on their song. Who will be your top 3 go-to guys?
That would be George Darko, Kojo Entry, and the Showboy. That's the Showboy is his name is not coming.
Daddy Lumba.
No, Amachi Dede. Yes.
Okay, so do you know any Amachi Dede song?
Yeah.
Of course, Amachi Dede chorus.
Yeah.
Give us.
Sufre wunyame Sewambuawo Zeye nyamita.
You passed my test. You passed it. Where do we find you on social media? Camille, I love your vibe. How do we find you on social media?
On every platform is Kadmili, but on Instagram is Milligram. So
Okay.
Kadmili, that is KADMIELLI, and Instagram is MIELLI with GRAM, Milligram.
Amazing stuff. Now let's talk about music streaming and royalties. How are you doing in respect to that? Do you belong to a record label? Are you a solo artist, independent artist?
I'm a solo artist now. As of
Okay.
now, I'm not signed on to any record label. It's my own thing I'm doing.
Your own thing.
Yeah.
What's your record label called?
Millie Music.
Millie Music.
Yes,
Righties. Okay. So which platforms do we get? Are you on all the streaming platforms?
Yeah, on all the streaming. My EP is out. It's Shuttle to Mars. Is on all platforms.
Okay.
Yes.
So you've joined all the streaming platforms.
Yes,
Are you a member of Musica?
Not yet.
When do you join Musica?
Soon, very soon.
Okay.
Very,
Because
very
we need the likes of young people like you to go into Musica and help move the structures
Sure.
and shake it around.
Sure.
What would be your final words to people who are watching you, your fans, your friends, even new fans that I'm sure you will have gained on here?
Yeah, so I just want to entreat everyone to go out and check my video. My video and my EP, Shuttle to Mars, is out on every streaming platform. I really love the support I'm getting from my friends, my family, everyone. I love everybody. Everybody keeps streaming. Thank you. Bless.
Amazing stuff. So I've joined your fans. Okay, so yeah, you just gained a follower and I'm
Super,
sharing your music.
super.
Thank you. We've been spending time with Kadmili, the latest addition to the Ghanaian music industry, and I hope you watched the video. His video, I mean, it's amazing. So go out there on social media. Whilst you're sharing the hashtag from GTV Breakfast, you should be going on his social media. Kadmili, follow and share his stuff. We promote Ghanaian creativity. We sincerely apologize for the poor sound earlier on our DSTV channel 278. We sincerely apologize. Our technical team is working on it. We understand it's began yesterday. We are working on it. We sincerely apologize. Even though we are ending the show, we are still interactive on all our platforms. You can find us if you use the hashtag TTV Breakfast. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Twitter. And you can find us on Instagram. Thank you for allowing us into your homes and your phones. And thank you for joining our conversation. As usual, we'll see you again tomorrow at 6 a.m. sharp. So we're going to go over to Parliament now for the Public Accounts Committee hearing. It's on now. Bye-bye.
Really?